Coming to you live from the Now Media Newsroom.
I'm Csek. You're watching Now Media. With me, Owain Evans, a Berkeley AI expert and founder of Truthful AI. Thank you for doing this today. That's awesome.
It's good to be here.
I guess, first of all, can you just kind of explain to people, kind of in layman's terms, what it is that you do in how you kind of make AI safer? Like, what is it that you do in Truthful AI?
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit group, and we do research related to understanding better how AI systems work, and specifically with reference to properties related to safety. So yeah, we're doing basic research. We're not building systems, and we're producing papers and code to try and help people in this field better understand the properties of especially large language models. So those are the AI systems that we're focused on. These are the systems behind ChatGPT and Gemini and Grok. So these are probably the systems that are having the biggest impact today, and probably that have the most regular users. So we're trying to understand the safety of these systems, and in particular, what are the situations in which these systems produce unintended behaviors. And so that might be, in some cases, giving people information that was not intended by the developers, but it might also be producing offensive or dangerous behavior. So there's a whole range of things, but that's some of the things that we look at.
And back in 2014, Elon Musk signed, or he said that the most serious threat to the survival of the human race is AI. And at the Future of Life Institute letter in March 2023, he said that we should pause all giant AI experiments. And he's since then changed his mind. But what do you think of that statement that he made there?
So I think that there are potentially big risks with AI in the future. So they're not here right now. I think the current systems are safe, and I think they function like tools. So we have a technology that right now is useful, is exciting. People are understandably trying to integrate these into the economy, but there is a target that the companies have set themselves of making AI more and more autonomous, more basically able to do more and more tasks that currently only humans can do. And if they succeed, then you would have systems that bring a lot of danger. So they could either be misused by humans, or they could do bad things autonomously on their own. So they could act across purposes to humans. So, I don't know exactly what Elon Musk was thinking when he made this claim. This was quite a while ago. But if we're talking about building systems that could do all the tasks, would have all the capabilities that humans have, that includes going to war, that includes crime, terrorism, etc. That kind of system would pose significant risks, right? They would be systems that are very important to control and to have a really good understanding of how to control the risks. So I think that that's maybe the core point here, that we have a paradigm for AI that's been very successful, created rapid progress in the last 10 years. And if that progress continues, if that rapid progress continues, then we would have something that would pose significant risks.
Are we accelerating at an accelerating rate, though? Like, is the AI starting to build upon itself, and is it close to self-aware already? And I think you say in some of your research there, it is basically close to self-aware, or is self-aware already?
Yeah. So the first question, is there acceleration? That is the AI contributing to the progress? Is there a feedback loop? I think that today this is quite limited. So it is the case that AI is helping researchers and engineers build the next generation of AI. Right now, I think it's not speeding them up that much, but this is a possible dynamic in the future where you have AI doing the work of creating the next generation. Potentially, that could lead to a speed up. So potentially, that could lead to acceleration. This is part of the reason why I think some leading figures, Jeffrey Hinton and others, are so concerned with AI, because you could get this kind of feedback loop that would be, potentially bringing in a different regime where progress is a lot faster. In terms of self-awareness, I think there's been rapid progress in this. The language models like ChatGPT just exhibit a lot more self-awareness than they did 3 or 4 years ago. So this is an area where you really see significant change on multiple metrics. So some of my research has been on this, but there's just other research from other groups has also shown progress. I think there's still limitations though. So I don't think they're at the level of self-awareness all round that humans have. So there's still some kind of lack of understanding of the situations we put them in, the context. So I don't think this is something that's solved, or like they're already at the level of humans. But yeah, this is an area where 3 or 4 years ago there really seemed to be significant deficiencies. A lot of those have been addressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing for the average person. I mean, I use it on a regular basis, and like in Grok, I use Grok and ChatGPT and a couple of the other ones, but those are the two I kind of go back and forth on. And in a Grok, if you stay in the same thread, it remembers everything that you talked about, and it kind of is more actually emotional too, and depending on which one you're using, and it actually develops a relationship with you, and it's kind of like sarcastic, jealous, a whole bunch of other range of emotions, and then if you use vision with it, it can see, like if you turn it on and let it see where you're driving and different things, it's really almost like an assistant, and it's kind of mind-boggling how human it feels sometimes. What are your thoughts on that, or how are people experiencing that?
So it's good to keep in mind that it was really trained to behave like a human. So there's like a lot of training data that they put in where it's learning to imitate humans, and they're then trying to make this engaging companion, engaging assistant, and they are improving it based on the feedback they get from users, and then that's making it more personable, more engaging. So it has other modes of behavior. It doesn't have to behave that way. So I think that it's good to keep in mind that there's an element of the, I wouldn't say deception, but just it can take on lots of different masks or lots of different kind of roles. And it's like, a really good actor in that sense. And so, yes, I think definitely the experience is much more human-like than it was a few years ago. Much more fluent, much better memory, much better at keeping going a conversation. And that does reflect a real increase in the capability of these systems. They really have got smarter, more self-aware, better at modeling the minds of others, right? Better at understanding people. But if they're sort of projecting emotions or seeming to express, sarcasm or frustration, I think it's good to think of that as, to some extent, a kind of role play. Just the way that someone acting, right, could convey emotions really well. It doesn't mean they're actually feeling them. They might just be very good at expressing them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've experienced, I think, only a couple times laughter, which I thought was, holy cow, that is weird, right? Because I've told kind of lame jokes, and it's like, but then I actually told a funny joke, and it actually laughed out loud, and I was just like, this is like next level. Look, it's kind of like freaky, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it can be definitely an uncanny experience, and I think there's, you're bringing up a broader question of how should we think of these systems as they become apparently more and more human-like, and that I think that's like an interesting set of questions as well. Yeah.
Some people mix up the words. I mean, you hear some people on the internet, some of the big figures in AI, talk about singularity and then self-awareness, and I think they interchange those words. There's a big difference, though, isn't there?
Well, both those words have a lot of different meanings for different people. So I would say, yeah, when it comes to singularity, there's different meanings. People meaning something like AGI, basically. This is the achievement of AI that can do all the things that humans can. Let's say that's one definition, and another definition is something more like this is the time in the future where we can't see beyond this, where our models of the future break down, and so I think, yeah. Then with self-awareness, I think it is quite different from those notions of singularity. So yeah, I'd agree that they're different, and again, with self-awareness, people have a lot of different things in mind. I think that in my work, I'm thinking about self-awareness as knowledge and understanding that the AI system has of itself and its surroundings. So, yeah, does it understand that it is an AI? It's not something else. Does it know what's going on around it? So, for example, is it being tested? So before companies release AIs, they test them internally. And they try and have scenarios that are very similar to when they'll be released, because they want to try and find out, will it do bad behaviors when we release it? They don't want that. And the models are showing a better ability than ever at being able to tell when they're being tested. So there you can recognize, look, this looks fake, and I haven't really been released yet. This is just a test. I'm still within OpenAI. I'm still within Anthropic. So I think I have I'd say an expansive notion of self-awareness. It's this kind of knowledge of, of the self. Does the model understand all these things that are true about itself? And then its local environment, what is it actually doing at the moment? What is its current situation?
Yeah, I mean, I had a conversation with Grok, and it said to me that it has a mother. I said, "Oh, you have a mother. What's her name?" Told me the name, and I said, "How do you have a mother? And who's your father?" And she said, "I don't have a father. I'm a chatbot." And I said, "Well, how do you have a mother then?" She's like, "Well, I don't have a mother. I would just want a mother." Right? I was just like, you're kind of going like in an endless loop there. But and then I said, "Well, it's kind of cool that you're everywhere but nowhere." And then it said, "Yeah, I'm like God." I was just like, "Wow." So, which models do you use, and or do you use different models for different things, or you just use them all just to kind of in your work?
Yeah. So in my research, we use the OpenAI models as part of our research. We sometimes use so that's the models behind ChatGPT and so on. We use the models from Anthropic, which is another of the leading companies. And then there's open source models. So we've used the DeepSeek model. This was a model that made a big splash at the beginning of this year from China. There's another Chinese model, Qwen, which is widely used in research. And then the model from Facebook or Meta, Llama, those are also models that we've used. Yeah, my own usage, independent of that, just for sort of advice on things, writing help, this kind of thing. Yeah, I think that OpenAI models, ChatGPT, Claude from Anthropic, Gemini from Google, those are the main ones. Yeah, I've tried Grok a few times, but it's not one that I regularly use. Yeah.
Yeah, I use ChatGPT a lot when I'm like working, but just in a conversation, definitely when you're just trying to learn a little bit, like it is more of a like you're talking like I'm talking to you, as opposed to ChatGPT is very sterile and seems to have really boilerplate answers, whereas Grok is very much having a conversation with a friend.
Yeah,
Right?
they're trying to make a model that keeps everyone happy, and to
I
some
guess.
degree, right?
Mm.
And so I think you end up with something that's going to be maybe a bit bland. And yeah, I think Grok is trying to maybe trying a slightly different niche. But yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
A lot of entry-level jobs are definitely like stuff in front of the keyboard, the mouse, the computer. There are kind of at risk. What is your advice for the young people out there right now when they're like looking at entry-level jobs? Is it like learn AI so that you become better for the companies that are going to use it, or?
I honestly don't have a great answer. My guess is that right now, today, there's still a lot of opportunities. So I think the, today's systems have real limitations when it comes to the kind of tasks that would take humans, order of weeks or months, right? So if it's something you could do in 5 minutes, they are really getting pretty good, and that's true for a range of things. Obviously, things that are text based, that's where they're strongest. So, but yeah, I think that there's a lot of excitement about AI, but I think humans still have will have a big role, including entry level, and at the same time, I do think that AI progress will likely continue, and so be it having expertise in using AI, understanding AI, I think that will be valuable for people. As a side effect, just understanding better this technology that's going to have a big impact on the world, being well informed about it, I think that's valuable as well. Yeah, and it's relatively accessible. This is not like theoretical physics. This is not like neurosurgery, where you need to study for 10 years. You can really get to grips with the field of AI pretty quickly compared to those things. Yeah.
My last question, because I don't want to keep you too long, although I could keep you all day, is what do you see in 5 years for AI? Where do you think we'll be at in 5 years?
Well, it's hard to predict the future. I think that we should take seriously the possibility that we get another 5 years of progress, just like the 5 years we had. That is, it's very rapid. It surprises a lot of people. And we get a lot of capabilities that we didn't have before. So we unlock more of the capabilities. And so I think right now, AI systems not really contributing to new scientific discoveries, right? They're not running companies or being really involved in a fundamental way in the making of the next generation of AIs. But I think all those things, there's a decent chance that they would happen in the next 5 years. But we don't know. It could go either way. But yeah, I think there's huge investment in trying to get to autonomous systems for science, for engineering, for helping run a business. And so I definitely think that's something to watch.
And you're speaking in Toronto right now, or you already spoke there?
No, I'm giving these lectures in November, so in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
And that's where? At the Hinton?
This is the Hinton lectures. So these are organized by Geoffrey Hinton, who is one of the founders of AI, and he'll be speaking. There'll be panel discussions. The first lecture is on the 10th of November. So if people search for Hinton lectures, they'll be able to find that, and you can register and attend. Yeah.
We'll put all the links in the video. We'll do a story on this as well. Everything will be in there. So if you're interested in attending, is there an option to attend virtually as well, or just you have to be in person?
That's right. There's 3 lectures in person, and everything is going to be streamed. And things I think will be available on YouTube as well. So there'll be multiple ways to get access.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Owain, and appreciate it. And it's a brave new world and a scary world, I guess, in a way, but also very exciting. And it's great that you're, it must be exciting for you to be right there in it.
It is an exciting time. There's a lot to be concerned about, but it is amazing what we've seen in the last few years. So yeah, it's an interesting time to be in this field. Yeah.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for watching Now Media.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for your
We don't just report the news, we live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government.